Hello and welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. So we're back this evening with one more testing before Eternal Weekend this weekend in Melbourne, Australia, with Green White Maverick with the splash of black in the sideboard. I've really been enjoying this deck for the last couple of months. I've been a D&T player in the past, but there's something about Maverick, especially just with the way the meta kind of shifted, especially locally towards a lot of sort of death and taxes specific hate, like neg 1 effects. Maverick just has a little bit more edge against those effects, which is awesome. The deck's been a pleasure to play. It's a buttload of fun to play. I even put together a site called the Green Sun Zenith, which of course is pretty much dedicated to the site, to the deck, sorry. But yeah, shifting a little things around. So in the sideboard, we're playing 2 Abrupt Decays over the Assassin's Trophies. This is mainly due to the uptick in the blue-red Delver decks playing Dreadhorde Arcanist. So having a way to answer their threats that can't be dazed or forced is really nice, or even spell pierced, I guess. I guess I should just say countered. Is really nice to have, even against miracles. It's something we can bring in for games 2 and 3 to hit mentor, back to basics, counterbalance if they keep it in. There's a few nice things that we can actually play with. Assassin's Trophy mainly there to answer planeswalkers, but we have been pretty good with answering things like Jace in the past, especially with threats like the Reliquary and Protection and Mother of Runes. So I've kind of just laid out the deck in a nice simple format. So we have a main land base over here, so we're playing 22 lands including Dryad Arbor, and then playing the 5 other mana dorks, 1 Bird of Paradise being there. I really like it in the black version because sometimes we just stumble a little bit to get black online early, so having an actual Green Sun Zenith or source or a turn 1 play that creates black mana is pretty legit. The second one is our one-ofs that are targets for Green Sun Zenith. So we have Gaddock Teeg. I have both Knight of Autumn and Qasali Pridemage just because I really like both right now, especially for the meta that I'm expecting down in Melbourne. A lot of D&T, a lot of Sneak and Show, a lot of targets for both of these creatures, which is going to be great. Scryb Ranger is undoubtedly the best card in the deck. Scavenging Ooze for main deck. Graveyard Hate, Ramunap really good with recurring Wastelands. We're not playing Horizon Canopy in this list. I don't really like it in the black versions, but that is for you to decide, and if you really like it, you can play it. 4 Knight of the Reliquary, and then just 2 Stoneforge Mystics and 3 equipment pieces, which is nice. So Sword and Light and Shadow getting the tick over Batterskull, just because Batterskull isn't really needed as a beatdown strategy in this deck when we have cards like Knight. And Light and Shadow does give some relevant protection, so protection from white, protection from black. You're looking at Path to Exile, Sword Plowshares, Fatal Push, creatures like Baleful Strix, Gomag Angler, Mentor, a lot of creatures in the mirror and against Death and Taxes. I think Sword of Light and Shadow is really good. 2 Sylvan Libraries, I really like 2, just the consistency of making sure you draw them in each game is really nice. 4 Green Suns, of course, and the card that I'm trying out tonight and hopefully this weekend is 2 Thalia Heretic Cathar. So they're mainly there for the Sneak and Show matchup. They're also pretty good against miracles, mainly because they're a repurposable threat, which I mean by that is that you can actually return it with Karakas and then replay it, which is nice. It turns on their fetch lands as well for Wasteland. Usually Maverick's going for basics early on, so having a Wasteland target is really nice. So Thalia as a 3-powered first striker as well is really nice, and can be relevant in a lot of games. And then really just a little bit of a D&T package. So you get the 4 swords, 3 mums, 3 Thalias. I've definitely seen a lot of lists that have 4 and 4 for Thalia and mum, but I'm a big fan of the 3 and 3 to make room for some other creatures in the deck. Going to the sideboard, we have Thoughtseize for combo and hard control like Grixis and Miracles. A little bit more combo hate in Canonist and Teeg. Garruk Relentless in the chokes, mainly for Miracles and Grixis control. Garruk also pretty good against some creature decks. Zealous Persecution and Abrupt Decay for removal. Zealous Persecution mainly there for a True Name Nemesis, Baleful Strix, looking for little blowouts in the sort of matchup between Maverick and Maverick or Maverick and D&T. And then just 3 more pieces of Graveyard Hate to help against the sort of turn 0, turn 1 decks, especially Dredge and Black-Red Reanimator, apologies. So that is my deck tech. I hope you guys enjoy this. We're going straight into a league. Of course, if you're wanting to find my leagues from previous streams, you can find them on my YouTube, which is linked below. I usually also talk about them on my Twitter, so if you have Twitter, definitely send me a follow. And yeah, last Sunday we went 2-0 and then unfortunately finished 2-3, which was pretty rough. I thought we had a really good league on our hands, but it wasn't to be. So that is more than fine. Maverick's been doing pretty good. I know that let me find his name. Maverick actually finished, I believe, 4th in the latest Legacy Challenge, which is awesome. It was pretty inundated with different blue-red Delver decks, which can be pretty brutal against Maverick. Can be just be a little bit too fast. It was Dreadnought 33, so a huge congrats to him. I know that he is, or they are, I should say, pretty active in the Maverick Discord, which is cool. Jitesh, good evening. I hope you are very keen for Melbourne. Not long now. Getting this little league ending soon, but hopefully that's not... 23 hours. We got heaps of time. And we have our match, which is very cool. So yeah, hoping this deck goes pretty well. We are on the play, which is a great start for this. But sadly, it's a no-lander, so this is a pretty obvious mull. Pretty obvious mull. Classic. It's not the greatest way to start a league when you misclick. I know what to say about that. Pisa Kudasai, welcome to the stream. Obviously there we went to mulligan this hand, but accidentally kept, did not mean to press keep. Which, to be fair, if our opponent's on a fast deck, maybe we can actually... Okay, so we're playing against Reanimator. And this hand's looking pretty bad, so I'm actually pretty happy to concede right now and go straight to the sideboard. So Reanimator is a pretty easy deck to actually sideboard against. Taking out the Stoneforge Mystic package and Teeg, bringing in Tormod's Thoughtseize and Surgical. Thoughtseize mainly for on the play, but we'll see how it goes on the draw, hopefully in Game 3. Everything else is pretty relevant. I find against fair decks, they usually go for ground creatures out of the board, so things like Grave Titan or Archsub Endurance. So Mum does have some play to the game. And also with Scryb Ranger, we do have a flying creature that can block and get protection, which is nice. I might actually drop one Mum for a Decay. Mainly there for things like Silent Gravestone if they play them, or Animate Dead. But that's really all that I want to bring in for now. To be fair, Canonist isn't the worst either, especially when they're most likely playing something like Dark Ritual in the deck. It also stops, of course, something like Entomb Reanimate in the same turn. So I might even drop down on something like a Ramunap Excavator here and submit this list. Would love to play first. This hand's very slow. It's only got one piece of interaction that's most likely going to be taken by a patient opponent who discards first. We did bring in some number of cards, so I'm pretty happy to actually mulligan this. This hand's actually pretty good. So get to keep. Another Noble can go to the bottom. So I'm just going to play the Bayou and the Hierarch. No, we're going to play the Karakas here. I was going to not play the Karakas because they might just go for an Ashen Rider first up, but we have the swords to actually hit it, which means that the Ashen Rider on leaving the field doesn't have a target, which is nice, so won't get 2 for 1 out of that. Or at least 3 for 1, I guess, if you have another land in play. Looks like just a discard from my opponent. Grizzle, okay. Knight. So here I'm pretty happy just to play this Hierarch and pass turn. Not too much else we can do. If we had another source of white mana, we could play a land, and then if they go to draw 7 off Grizzlebrand, we can swords it, and if they do nothing, we can return it to pretty much see if they actually don't don't have a way to sort of play around that. Interesting. A land would be kind of nice. A land means we can Green Suns for Skoos. I'm keeping up Noble because it's access to both Scavenging Ooze and Swords to Plowshares. Now I'm just going to wait for some sort of interaction with Grizzlebrand. Cabal Therapy is going to be fine. Can't do much there. Could be naming Surgical. I think Swords is probably a pretty... They named Surgical, okay. Well, they now know about double swords, so... Cabal not the worst because we do have Noble Hierarch around. I don't believe they have an instant way to reanimate this Grizzlebrand, so pretty happy to eat it now. Haha! So that's, I was actually about to say, a reason you might not want to eat it is that you can actually draw into Surgical and then Surgical the Grizzlebrand, but I think the fair play there was actually just to go ahead with eating the Grizzlebrand there. It allows us to effectively use our mana, and then also makes this Scavenging Ooze a little bit more of a threat, taking it down from just, I think, 7 turns down to 5. Yeah, so a nice start. Sadly, on that game 1, we did click to keep a no-lander. And we did mean to actually mulligan it, which is fine. I think Thoughtseize is a little bit worse on the draw, but at the same time, I don't think any of these cards are that much better on the draw than Thoughtseize. If our opponent does something like puts a creature in the bin and passes, we actually have the opportunity to Thoughtseize on our turn 1 to take their reanimate spell. So pretty happy just to run back with what we have. Red-Black Reanimator sometimes a pretty hard matchup for this deck. It's a little bit too fair at times, so we really need that free spell of either Surgical on the draw or Torment's Crypt on the play. Torment's Crypt my choice of Graveyard Hate because you can play it through a Chancellor, which is really nice. This hand's nice with Skoos, but it's just a little bit too slow. We'll see how much our opponent mulligans, but we'll most likely be mulliganing ourselves. So they're going to keep 7, which is a little bit scary. So I'm actually going to mulligan this. I can't really keep this either. It's really an O-lander with Wasteland, so... Not too much here. We're going down to 3. We'll go down to 2. There we go. We'll keep this. We'll bottom the Scryb Ranger. Very, very aggressive lines of play here. But yeah, I wasn't going to keep any of those hands, which is pretty rough. This might just be an all-in sort of Dark Ritual, Entomb, Animate Dead. Especially now that they know that the coast is clear. But no, they're going to allow us to draw, okay. Birds of Paradise, interesting. I think I'll definitely actually play it here. It's better than just holding up sort of nothing. I'm going to get a Savannah, because I want to hold up either like Swords to Plowshares or something else of that nature. There's Entomb.
Looting, hopefully not another creature into the bin, or at least a different creature. And there it is, Archetype of Endurance. Okay. So that's a hard one to beat. Pedal and no Reanimate. Interesting. So we have the option to draw into something. Sylvan Library. Okay, well I'm definitely playing this. So, two pretty good top decks. A fetch there, maybe just to get a land out of their graveyard. Oh, sorry, out of their bin, out of their library. One card in hand for my opponent. Flashback, Faithless Looting, okay. So something like Lotus Petal and Reanimate would do it. I can be really aggressive with this Sylvan Library, which is quite nice. Okay, Sylvan Library here. Let's do some work. What do we get? Windswept. Okay, so we can actually shuffle some stuff back if we want. Scrubland and Cradle. Okay, so we'll... I think we'll just pay for the Windswept Heath here. I could also pay for the Scrub just to get it out of the deck. Which I don't mind. It also makes me look like I've actually kept a hate card in hand, like Surgical. Oh, they're tapping mana. It's Animate dead. And there's Grizzle. So just too slow. A Multa 2, well a Multa 1 with Unmask. Lake of the Dead, a great way to add more mana. This could be something like Grave Titan as well. Yeah, so Grave Titan's gonna do a bit of work here. We'll definitely fetch. I might just get a Bayou here. And then hope to draw into something like Swords and Karakas is pretty nice. Maybe like Swords, Karakas, Graveyard Hate, which would put us dead pretty much to the tokens anyway. Wasteland. Canonist and Ooze, a little bit too slow. And really just game, sadly. We don't have a way to beat this Grizzlebrand other than like a block with Birds of Paradise. That's just not really good enough. So we'll just concede here just to get the league going along. It's not the greatest start, especially with the Mulligan Keep, which is pretty rough. Pretty rough to say the least, but I mean, Black-Red Reanimator is a big part of the format and you just gotta be ready for it. And maybe 3 sideboard slots isn't enough. Maybe just I need a bit more than just the 2 Surgicals and Tormod's Crypt. Never a fun deck to lose to, but you know, you got to give it to the players, especially with the new Mulligan rule coming into effect. A lot easier to find your discard, your reanimate, and the creature you want to reanimate being able to go to 7 each time and then just put back the sort of dead cards in hand. Which, yeah, you can see your London on top with 21 trophies, a lot of them with Blackwood Reanimator. Just such a good deck at getting sort of the fast wins, especially once you're quite competent with the deck like Eric is. Hopefully not too much in Melbourne. I'm not too sure of how many people in Melbourne even play the deck, but I'd love to see it at a 0 to 1 kind of meta percentage. Fetty Summer. His hand's pretty much nothing, but we're going to keep it. Against something like Combo, it's pretty dead, but we have some interaction with Wasteland and Swords of Plowshares. Sylvan Library can really draw us into the game, so I'm pretty happy to keep this. Delta Pass. If we don't draw a creature... Birds. Okay, birds is actually quite nice. I'm going to go Savannah first. Trying to hide the black splash until I kind of have to show it. Volcanic Bolt. I mean, Bolt the Bird has been a practice for maybe 20 years now. So no hard feelings about that. Okay, interesting. Maybe this is something like Rogue Delver. Goyve's pretty nice. So I have the ability to take them off green here. I can play Wasteland to play for days. I can't Wasteland first and then Swords, because they can just daze with the Volcanic Island. So I think I might see if they daze first, and then we can pay for it. If they have double daze or Force of Will, then that's just on us. So they're going to force it pitching Brainstorm. Okay. Now the issue here is that if we Wasteland, we put ourselves back a ton. But if we take out their green source and they don't have another green source in hand, then they're not going to be able to build out as many threats than what they currently have. But I think because Jitte might be our answer back into this game, I want to keep as many lands around as I can. Especially when they have a Goyf out already, we're not winning the board state if we Wasteland there. Going straight to attacks for the 3, so... And no second land drop. That's pretty interesting. Another Windswept Heath. So I think here we might go Sylvan Library. They're going to Spell Pierce that, that's fine. A little bit annoying. And now we can just pass turn. So I might even Wasteland in their upkeep. Seeing they missed a land drop, if they do have Stifle, I want them to use it in their turn. And taking them off green here does seem relevant. So they could actually Brainstorm here into a Stifle, or just get another fetch land to maybe ease up their hand a bit, because, yeah, last turn was just a bit of nothing. The great thing about getting the Wasteland into the bin is that if we get a Knight down next turn, it's a 4/4 and it's out of bolt range. The Goose is going to be loose. Noble Hierarch. I think I'll play the Jitte first. Then play the Hierarch. Daze is going to be fine. they're down to 1 land in hand. But some pretty good pressure online. So I wonder here, we can go and get Dryad Arbor. Yeah, Forest isn't a great draw. We can get Dryad Arbor and equip. So we died a bolt either way. Yeah. So pretty rough. Didn't really draw into too much in the game. Light and Shadow can come out. Gaddock Teeg can come out. Thalia is doing a pretty good amount of work in this matchup. I can probably drop down on swords, and then I kind of just want to bring in maybe 2 chokes and Abrupt Decay. I could bring in Zealous Persecution to deal with True Name. I haven't seen it yet. I'm assuming it's in the deck. But maybe this is all I need right now. I kind of like this. I could bring in the Tormod's Crypt if I want. I think the Crypt might be relevant, especially if they go for a Nimble Mongoose start. So I might even drop down... Maybe the Qasali can come out. We have the Knight of Autumn already in the list, and they don't usually bring in any artifacts or enchantments, so... Qasali's going to be pretty fine. If anything, maybe like Cindervines to deal with the Stoneforge Mystic package. That's probably about it. It's also merit to definitely bring in Thoughtseize and Garruk. I would love to play first. This hand's okay. I mean, we got the Wasteland package online pretty fast, which is nice. If there's something like a turn 1 Delver, it doesn't really matter. This hand is pretty weak to Delver, but I think on the play it's not too bad. It is very land heavy, I'll give you that. But they most likely took out Stifle, but I'm still going to use one of these fetch lands. These two can get both basics, so I'm pretty happy to use the Verdant first. Probably just going to get a Savannah. We'll get the Bayou. This means next turn I can draw into something like Abrupt Decay. I'd love to draw a 2-drop here just to play around Days. Knight's interesting. I feel like Ramunap's better than Knight because of the Wasteland package. They might even just have a Stifle here. So that's going to be fine. If anything, it grows the Knight, which is kind of nice. I wanted to fetch there to actually make the Knight a 4/4. Bolt and Wasteland, I guess, would be okay here. But it looks like they're just going to pass back. I'm going to fetch here for a basic Plains. And just pass turn. I could have Wastelanded as well, which is a bit aggressive. I really want to get to a 3-drop really fast. But if they don't draw another land here, perhaps Wasteland's just better than the 3rd drop. Going after our mana.
I think here we just have to Wasteland them. Nothing. Wow. So Brainstorm locked. Okay. Screws is pretty nice. Screws is at least playable here, which is nice. They're gonna force it. Pitching Spell Pierce. Okay. But missing a land drop there is definitely why I was a little bit resistant to Wastelanding there, even though it's turned out quite well. Night of Autumn. So yeah, now we're just getting a little bit clunky with 3 drops here, which might be a reason to play another land in this deck. We're playing 23 at the moment. Pretty funny. Alright, what do we get into? What do we draw? Green Suns, okay. Happy to Green Suns for 1 here. I'm gonna force it. Pitching Force, okay. To be fair, they are getting to the stage where they have to discard to hand size, so forcing as a 2-for-1 isn't that relevant. This is where a land into Night is just going to be really good for me. And it's not. This is pretty classic. Still nothing from my opponent. Wasteland. There we go. Okay. Can we get down a Night? They've used 2 forces and pitched 1. There's the last one. Alright. Nice. I'm going to fetch in response to their fetch if they do. Just to play around Stifle. It's going to come down. And they're just going to concede, okay. I think I'm pretty still happy with the list. If anything, I might drop 1 Thalia and come back to something like Zealous Persecution. It deals with True Name, and it can also deal with Nimble Mongoose if they're really slow. Even a 1-for-1 with Delver isn't too bad because we do have a pretty hard game against aggressive Delver decks. This hand is fine. So I'm pretty happy here just to fetch for a basic forest and then play a Green Suns. Daze is fine. No flip, interesting. So either a land there, or a creature. Another Delve is pretty good. There's the Dryad Arbor. Let's get down to Thalia, hopefully. It's nice that that's stuck. But these Delves are going to flip most likely next turn. And they're not going to be Zealousable. No flip. Okay. Interesting. Wasteland going after my mana. A draw here would be great for a land, just to get the Scryb Ranger into play. It's a choke, which isn't relevant. Dryad Arbor going to take a long time. I'm actually going to beat here. Once these Delvers flip, it doesn't really matter if the Thalia is back on defense, and taking 2 damage isn't too bad. Still no flip, wow. Bolt going after Thalia, okay. Now the draws here is gonna be pretty interesting. Doesn't do a whole lot for me. Pretty happy to play the Scryb Ranger now to try to play around something like Spell Snare. Daze is pretty good. Sylvan Library might stick, but it's going to be pretty close. They do have Spell Pierce. Daze works here. Yeah. Just not drawing this third land is really rough. Especially once they start getting so many creatures on board. These Delvers are going to flip in no time. And we just don't have an out. Yeah. Abrade's pretty good there as well, because it just kills this Dryad Arbor as well. So maybe even just the mana isn't good enough here. So we're actually only running 22 lands. Usually on 23, I really just cut an edge to try to fit another creature in, but obviously it's not performing well so far. The main reason being is that I wanted to try a Thalia as a 2-of, because as a non-green creature you're not going to see it too often. So just maximizing those turns where you get to see it is what I was really wanting to achieve by playing 2. But yeah, pretty rough, especially taking out the 4th sword for the Zealous Persecution, and then Zealous not really being that relevant, but a swords there would have been nice. So this hand is fine. We'll keep this. I'm just going to get a Savannah and Green Suns for Dryad Arbor.
First to Thirst. No idea what they're on. Island Ponder, okay. I mean, Scalding Tarn into Island into Ponder most likely kind of signifies to me something like Sneak and Show. If I draw a land, I'd love to, because then I have to show the Wasteland. But we still will go ahead with Thalia here. And then just swing in for 1. Can't do too much else with the mana that we have. This could also be something like Miracles. Yeah, with the planes there. Windswept Heath is nice. So we'll definitely attack first. I actually don't mind about a Snapcaster ambush vipering this Dryad Arbor because it taps them out, meaning that we could Sylvan Library the following turn. Might just get a forest here to play around back to basics a little bit. Sylvan Library gonna stick, which is interesting. Arid Mesa, meaning if they have back to basics, they have to get a Tundra. If they do want another blue source, which maybe they don't. Pretty nice draw step here. So I'm going to actually pay 8 to keep these. Going for basics. Pretty happy to try out Thalia first. Happy to go to combat. And then maybe here just go for Mum. Could be overextending, but we're not really doing anything else with our mana. And getting a Mum online is pretty nice. Continue and welcome to chat. I'm going to expect something like a Brainstorm here. Just another Swords, and on Mum this time. Which is pretty good. This Wasteland with no real targets right now. If anything, it's targeting the Wasteland in response to Brainstorm, but right now with 2 fetches, that's going to be a little bit tougher to do. We get a fresh look with Sylvan Library here. Karakas is a nice draw. Happy to put these both back. So a pretty slow clock. I could play the Thalia Heretic Cathar here. I could also go for Green Suns for Gaddock Teeg, which I don't mind. Keeping up Karakas here. Gaddock Teeg turning off Terminus, Supreme Verdict, Jace, which is pretty good. I mean, something like Snapcaster here is pretty good. But we do have Karakas to save both our creatures, or at least one of them. Song's really weird. Gonna change that. So we're gonna target Teeg, so in response we can at least return Teeg to our hand. Mentor's pretty good.
kind of like just Noble Hierarch here. I'm just going to pass, most likely. They could just hold up Brainstorm, so attacking with Thalia does nothing into Mentor, because it just creates a 3/3 Mentor. I'm just going to pass here. I like the Verdant here because it shuffles those 2 creatures away, which we don't really need right now. So I'm just going to attack with Thalia. I should have played the Noble first to get Exalted here. And I'm just going to pass back. Nice. Okay. So Thalia actually a threat that I really like in this matchup. It's crackable, which is really nice, and the 3 toughness means that I can actually run it into a Mentor, especially with 1 mana up. That's not going to be doing a whole lot. We'll fetch an end step, just getting the other forest. Happy to attack with Thalia. Actually, I'm going to attack with these 2. They can't really cast anything with Mentor to pump it anyway, so... They might just have to throw the Snapcaster here in front of Thalia. So my opponent can Council's Judgment next turn, which gives them access to 1 mana, maybe 2 if they have another land in hand. So I'm actually going to go a little bit wide here. Because we have the Gaddock out, I'm going to play this Knight, most likely as a 4/3. Zilzian, thank you for the follow. Let me know where you're from. What you play in Magic, what your local meta's like. Hopefully a Legacy player. So I don't think I'll do anything in response to Council's Judgment. I could return something, but because we have quite a good clock on, I'm pretty happy just to let them name whatever they want. If it's Teeg, it might mean that they have something like Supreme Verdict in hand, and next turn they just want to block with Mentor and Monk, and then actually just wipe my board the following turn. And it's going to be Thalia, so we're going to go for her as well. So now just really going for the blockers here. They are tapped out though, so I'm pretty happy to attack him with all creatures here. So here I can just return Gaddock Teeg. Take care of these tokens and then replay it. And they can't even force, which is nice because we do have Thalia in play. Not a Legacy player, but trying to get into Legacy in my LGS since I am the Stored Judge. I'm from the Netherlands, play Blue-White Spirits in Modern and a ton of Commander. Legacy is a bit out of my budget, sadly. You should definitely check out cbrmtg.com, who do a budget to tiered series. And they kind of get you into Legacy with a budget deck, and then actually sort of build from there and show you like where you should be building, which is really cool. I'm a big fan of that. Another Mentor is pretty good. I won't lie. Something like sort of Light and Shadow off the top would be really nice. Green Suns. So sadly, Green Suns doesn't do a whole lot. We can go get something like Night of the Reliquary, but happy to play Noble Hierarch. Maybe I'm okay with Thalia getting taken. So I might actually just attack with these two. Because I attack with both, there's no real reason to play the Noble Hierarch pre-main phase anyway. Predict's gonna be fine. So I could actually go for Screws here if I wanted to. I get to play a land from the graveyard. Oh, actually I can't because of the Gaddock Teeg on the field, which is pretty rough because now I got to actually Yeah, I can't even take that mana back, which is pretty rough, because I made a game action between. But that's going to be fine, hopefully. Mutton chops, you are 100% correct. Yeah, exactly. Which I just didn't even think about. Brainstorm's pretty good. Narset actually doing a ton of work against Sylvan Library, so maybe I should have given that a little bit more consideration of attacking Narset instead of their life total. I think we're just going to concede here. We don't really have the way to get through, and with 5 cards in hand for my opponent, they're going to be able to create tokens just to block for a while. So pretty happy to go straight to the sideboard. And we actually have a ton of cards to bring in. A pretty translusive sideboard. So I definitely take out Cradle in this matchup. I'm not the biggest fan of the Mystics. Even though they can find equipment, I like just actually taking them out. Ramunap Excavator does nothing in this matchup, sadly. Thalia Heretic Cathar is fine because we have access to Karakas. I could take out the Birds of Paradise if I wanted to here, which I'm pretty happy to, and just make this pretty even switch of 9 cards, which is a lot, but they're all pretty great cards, especially Gaddock Teeg. You could bring in Ethersworn Canonist if you really wanted to pressure Snapcaster Mage and slow down Mentor a little bit, but I'm pretty happy with what we have here. Mother of Rune's still really good because it can protect things like Gaddock Teeg and Thalia from Swords to Plowshares. Hand's a little bit slow, but I'm pretty happy to keep this. We have access to all our colors, which is nice. We have Abrupt Decay as well. Thoughtseize is nice, so I might Thoughtseize first. Get a Bayou. I'll just play the Savannah. Terminus, Jace, and EE. The only thing I'm really scared of here is Jace. Knowing the Terminus is in hand is great, so pretty happy to take the Jace and just take the ability to know my opponent's hand as well. Flooded Strand. Sylvan Library is pretty good. So Sylvan Library is going to get the tick here because play a fetch land so we can fetch away anything we don't want to draw. There's plains. EE for 2 here could be the play. Which is great, because we have Knight of Autumn in hand. Maybe they know that. Maybe they're trying to wait to see if they can actually get there. Commander Sausage has resubbed with Prime for 3 months. A huge thank you. That means a hell of a lot. Let me know if you have a deck you want me to touch on, and I'll see if I can actually bring it up for a stream. That'd be pretty cool. You did catch me live. Sadly, when I'm doing the best, I can actually update my score to be yeah, a little bit of 0-2 here, but hopefully Sylvan Library is going to get us back in this game. Scryb Ranger is pretty nice. I kind of like just keeping them all here because we do have quite a high life total and a good avenue to beating Mentor with Abrupt Decay, so I'm going to play the Plains just to hide the actual...
I'm going to play a little bit around back to basics. I could have kept the fetch land to actually fetch away if we don't like what's on top next turn. I'm going to play the Sword of Light and Shadow. Actually, I'm going to play the Fire and Ice. I think the Fire Ice is a little bit better. So hopefully my opponent plays EE for 2 but holds up the fetch land. They don't. Okay. Jace is pretty good. We'd love to draw like a choke here. We don't. I have the ability. I'm going to actually pay for this. I could equip here, or I can just hold up Abrupt Decay on EE to force it, or hold up Scryb Ranger, which is kind of nice. I really just want to get him with a sword. They're going to brainstorm without playing a fetch land, which I actually really like, because if they brainstorm with a fetch land out, I can Wasteland it, taking away their ability to shuffle, which is pretty cool. So they're doing the correct way of casting EE around Thalia. They're paying, they're casting it for 2, but they're actually casting it for 1 and then using a different color to pay for Thalia. In that way, getting 2 colors onto the EE. So they're going to pop this, which is interesting, because now we get to cast Scryb Ranger. So just hoping they don't have a swords in hand. And they do. Okay. I think I'm fine here just to play Knight. Make it pretty big. Play Windswept Heath, so we can maybe go and get Dryad Arbor in the end step if they do use Terminus here. Yeah, they do. Pretty rough as well, because we have changed the Abrupt Decay away from... They're going to play a Mentor. Okay. That's going to be fine. They name the sword. Interesting. I'm pretty happy to get Dryad Arbor here.
We won't trigger the sword because we want to kill Jace here, but I'm pretty happy just to attack Jace and then just attack them. So we get the Jace off the field, which is nice, but we know they still have Terminus. Oh, they're at 8 as well. Sorry, we're at 8. So we could very much be dead as well. Really just not paying attention to our life total there. Judgment most likely going after sword. Another Jace is pretty good. I'm just going to concede there. Can't really come back from that. Which is pretty rough. So that's going to be the third loss of the night. So that's against Rug, against Blue-Red Reanimator, sorry, Black-Red Reanimator, and against Miracles. So not looking too good right now. Yeah, 0-3 does feel bad, but Maverick's just like such a fun deck that the game's never the same, and it is definitely a very fair deck. Legacy is a very unfair format, so you've really got to work hard for the wins. And when you do get that one win, just that feeling of getting the win is so much better than it just sort of outrides the feeling of an 0-3. So looking to finish high. And then, hey, might even back this up with another league just to see if we can finish on a high. But yeah, Miracle is just brutal there, especially with maybe just going for the line of Dryad Arbor was worse than going for Abrupt Decay straight away and then just attacking with the sword the following turn. We get our game, which is nice, against Carney. Not sure what Carney is on, but we will see in a second. I'm gonna close this. A no lander. This pretty much sums up the night. We've had a few no landers, which might just be the mana base. 22 lands is a little bit light. This land's actually quite nice, so I'm gonna keep this. Swords of Plowshares on top would be pretty cool. Stoneforge. Yeah, I think we have a pretty good hand against the fair decks, so I'm really looking for something like maybe Thalia or Wasteland. So I'm going to put Stoneforge on the bottom. Underground Sea. Ponder, interesting. It's a bad matchup, plus a lot of them are adding Narset, which makes digging with Sylvan Library impossible. Yeah, for sure. I think Narset, although is a very blue hate card, does hit one of our best cards against them in Sylvan Library. Especially because it goes down to 1, and you don't really want to waste a turn killing it, but at the same time, turning off Library is just so huge. Underground Sea Pond is pretty interesting. Knight's pretty nice. So I actually might just go for basics in this game. We don't have anything for black in the main deck, which is nice. But I should use the other fetch land. That's just not thinking. So Verdant Catacombs to get Forest and Windswept Heath to get Plains, but we can still get Savannah with this, so not looking too bad. The issue with the hand against Maverick as well was that we just didn't... We had a little bit of pressure in Thoughtseize, but nothing to follow it up with. This is a great song, by the way. Strix is going to go live, so this looks like some sort of Grixis deck. Which is fair enough. I think Thalia this turn is going to be pretty nice. So I'm going to go for a Savannah here. And then hopefully get this Thalia into play. It's going to get forced. Interesting. Pitching Jace. That's actually quite a big win. Pretty happy for them to pitch a Jace away. Maybe they have something like Liliana Last Hope and they think they can just maybe force the threat and then Liliana Last Hope to victory. Which, getting that swamp kind of tells me that they just have Liliana Last Hope here. Oh, maybe True Name. Narset, okay. Decay is pretty good, especially because we have this Knight of Autumn. Sorry, Knight of the Reliquary. I think here I actually just want to play out Qasali and and hold up the fetch land. Actually, no, because I want to be able to respond by at least killing the Strix if they go to kill the... So I could actually kill the Narset here. I could blow up the Qasali right now on the Strix and take the Narset down to 2. Which I don't mind, because I think Sylvan Library is quite a good draw. Yeah, it really does have a lot of impact. They don't have mana yet for Abrupt Decay, which is good. I could have attacked first, actually get trigger, and then sack. That's very true. That was just a misplay. Jedi Goff, you are ahead of me. Which, yeah, is a rookie mistake. You were very true. Last Hope's pretty good. No green mana yet, which is great for us. Thalia. I think I'd rather Thalia here, because it stops them from drawing into a fetch land and just going straight away to Abrupt Decay. Yeah, definitely would have prevented Lily this turn, so it all trickles down. That's the big thing about Legacy. You can make one little mistake and it just all adds up. Him's pretty good. Noble. I mean, we can Noble here to Exalt, and then also play the Mum. So at least the Lily has to choose between Mum and Noble. If I didn't draw another 0-1 there, I probably wouldn't have played either of them, or the Mum at least. But yeah, again, like, this is maybe a reason why I should have played the Knight, because the Knight would have been much bigger than this Thalia. So actually taking that Liliana and taking it down would have been a little bit more achievable. At least drawing into a Swords here might mean... Actually, no, because the Baleful Strix comes in tapped, so maybe we can deal with the Thalia here. Just maybe. So it's a nice little win there. So I might actually play this Scooze now and eat a Baleful Strix straight away. It's a creature that I can eat, and it also means it's one less card they can actually go mag away. So they're gonna force this. Okay, pitching force. Interesting keeping the Strix back when we have a first striking threat. Wasteland's pretty nice. I kind of like keeping Wasteland for the land they draw, so something to turn on Abrupt Decay, which most likely is going to be a fetch land. To the slaughter. We'll sack the Noble. There's the Verdant. So there's a great target for Wasteland. Ooh, Fire and Ice. I'm going to attack first and then play this sort of Fire and Ice. They might block here. They did keep the Strix back. Interesting. Not attacking or defending with the Strix. Yeah, pretty nice top deck for the Sword of Fire and Ice. It really pushes out our ability to pressure our opponent, which is nice. Oh, but this could be something like Jace. 4 mana is... still no attack. Night of Autumn. So I have the ability here to actually play the Night of Autumn, blow up the Baleful Strix, and then attack in for 3. And what this plays off is something like Sorcery Speed Sacrifice. It also is lethal next turn anyway, because it'll be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This does turn on Fatal Push, which is a little bit annoying. I don't think they'll have it. But you never know. If this attack goes through, it does mean that both sources are lethal with sword the following turn. It looks like the damage is getting through, which is nice. Something like a main deck Deluge would be pretty good for them. They're just going to concede, okay. Interesting. So it looked like it kind of looked like Bug. We didn't see red at all. If anything, we saw Abrupt Decay in the main deck. So I definitely like Choke. I don't mind Abrupt Decay because I have so many Planeswalkers. And I don't mind Garruk, just to get out creatures. I think we can drop down on a piece of equipment. We can probably drop down on like 2 Swords to Plowshares. Mum's okay. Cutting Jitte first? Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, if they bring in Bitter Blossom, then sort of Light and Shadow is just so good as well. I might then just take out Pridemage and Teeg. I think that's pretty good, especially if we're going for a mid-range build. I might bring in Thoughtseize on the draw. Sorry, on the play. I kind of like Zealous Persecution, because it deals with Snapcasters and Baleful Strixers, and even True Name if they play it. So I might even like drop down on something like... Mum's still highly relevant. Maybe something like Cradle. I think against this matchup, I'm not going to have the ability to have a lot of creatures on board, so maybe Cradle just isn't that great. Yeah, very true. You can play it. You can play Zealous Persecution defensively as well if you want. It sounds okay. It's a turn 1 Mum with a sword. We have to draw the 3rd land to be able to really be relevant. And it kind of has to be a fetch land or else Abrupt Decay doesn't do too much. Thoughtseize. That's fine. Taking out 1 drop, okay. I mean, a Mana Dork would be insane off the top. Wasteland's pretty good. I'm actually just going to Wasteland here. We have so many good 1 and 2 drops we can draw into, so kind of restarting the game is fine for me. If they make use of the graveyard through something like Gomag, we do have the swords for it as well, which is nice. Wow, okay. Maybe they wanted to ponder first. I'm going to play the Savannah here. I don't think they play Wasteland, so there's no point playing the Forest first. I'd play the Forest first if I was scared of Wasteland, so I could definitely drop the Sylvan Library turn 2. Wow, still nothing from my opponent. Another land is pretty great. Yeah, pretty nuts. So I'm going to assume they kept an Underground Sea with a Ponder, because I just didn't draw into the land. So we get the first win of the night. So it's nice to be on the board. But yeah, I guess that's the reason why you should just play Wasteland. Yeah, pretty aggressive to go for a Thoughtseize. Surely they kept like a 1-lander with Ponder and they just didn't Ponder first. Which now they know. Now they know. So can't be too unhappy with that. Commander Sausage, what do you play in Legacy? And where are you from? What's your local meta like? If you play Legacy, that is.
would love to play Cataclysm in Maverick, but it just isn't set up correctly like D&T is to play it. Was on Maverick, finished 4 color loam tomorrow. Very cool. I got rid of my Mox Diamonds a few weeks ago, or maybe like 2 months ago now, and I kind of wish I didn't. A lot of Lance decks in Sydney. Interesting. What's like the sort of how often does Sydney Legacy get together? And are you going to Eternal Weekend in Melbourne? Oh, Sneak and Show. Okay. Interesting. Every 2 weeks at a Liverpool, but the shop was closing. Oh, that's really sad. I did meet some guys at GP Sydney in a side event playing Legacy that I believe played at a pub. On the play is very nice. And the hand's okay. The hand's pretty good. We're going to keep this. I'm just going to fetch a basic off the Windswept Heath here. Yeah, it sounds really fun. I mean, Legacy is all about community, and playing at a pub seems really cool. Our last finals there was Burn versus Legacy Humans. Oh, City of Traders. Okay, looking at some sort of Thought-Knot Seer deck. Another land ain't the greatest. I think Sword's pretty good here. Green Suns isn't the greatest, sadly, because we can only Green Suns for 2. We could Scryb Ranger and then Green Suns for another Noble Hierarch. Sadly, I can't Green Suns for Pridemage, but I'm pretty happy to get my mana out in front here. It also means that if they don't have like a Thought-Knot here, next turn we can Swords, equip, and swing with Scryb Ranger for a fair amount. Or not. I mean, Khan's pretty good as well, let's be honest. So, there's a Knight. Okay. So we can play a fetch. Play Knight. Can swing, which is nice. Gonna attack Khan. I think Legacy Humans is a sweet deck. I just built my girlfriend Burn, which she loves, which is cool. But yeah, Humans seems like a really cool deck. A lot of interactions, a lot of decision making about the creatures that you play, especially with Vile. I'd actually like to tick up. I'd actually like to kind of maybe draw into another exalted creature. So Green Suns for Qasali Pridemage. So next turn, the Scryb Ranger can tick up and kill the Khan. Oh, sorry, can actually attack the Khan for lethal, and I can use Knight for Wasteland.
I feel like if my opponent wants to win this match, they need to use Khan right now and get something like Crucible of Worlds. Ensnaring Bridge. Okay, Bridge is pretty good. However, we can still attack with Noble Hierarch, which is nice. Sylvan Library. We can go to combat first. See if they crack LED, which they do. Ah, this is, okay. Attack Khan. Khan's gonna be dead. And then we can just Wasteland them and play Sylvan Library? That seems insane. And they're just gonna concede because... Okay. So Abrupt Decay seems great, and also Gaddock Teeg. I don't mind Tormod's Crypt as well. I think we take out maybe 2 swords. I'm not sure with the champion deck if Teeg is that great. I know it stops Khan, but I can't really think of what else it really plays. Sorry, Bomberman, there we go. So let's have a quick look at the list. Because Bomberman can be a little bit... Yeah, Surgical actually seems great. I'm not sure if they play... I'm assuming they don't play Chalice. Maybe Teeg, where you just need the 1. I might be able to take out, like, Thalia. Maybe even the Stoneforge Mystics. Thoughtseize seems okay. Thoughtseize mixed with Surgical is pretty good. Maybe I can just play like this. I think this seems pretty sweet. I think they're on Chalice. Yeah, I don't think they can... I don't think they play any 1-drops. They just play 0-drops in LEDs and a few other things. Sounds fine. Turn 1 Mum, turn 2 Thalia. If anything Mum could have come out, I don't think they would keep... like, bring in swords or anything. Qasali's pretty nice. Yeah, Thalia is pretty good. There's swords, okay. Swords at least taking care of the Mum and not a Thalia. We do have 2 Thalias, which is quite nice. Just a pass from my opponent. Interesting. Heath. I don't mind playing Qasali, getting Exalted and there's taking out the Ancient Den, because that also turns off the Mox Diamond, kind of taking them off 2 mana. And I think if we're going to win this mat, I'm just not sure if I play the Pridemage. I might attack...
I'm kind of wanting to take them off mana here. Especially seeing they didn't float. If this is Mentor, it's fine. Okay, so it's Salvages. So Salvages for 1 and a white. You can return target artifact with converted mana cost 1 or less from your graveyard to your hand. They currently don't have access to white mana, which is nice. Jitte. I kind of like Knight here. I think Knight's just so good. And the attack with 1 Exalted doesn't do much. Jitte is real nice with first strike. Karakas. Karakas is pretty good. Khan's gonna be fine. I guess they can have Ballista. That's just unlimited mana, right? So now I have to deal with the salvages. So I give them Ballista now and at least get a turn. So like another, maybe like another Hierarch here for Exalted. Ramunap. So I can play Thalia and Noble Hierarch. That doesn't do a whole lot when I know that they have what looks to be pretty much infinite mana here. So I can get Khan down to 1. Yeah, this is rough. I can play the Hierarch, attack with Knight at Khan. And then just play Thalia. They do have Walking Blister though, so they have an answer to it, which is annoying. Sadly, Thalia doesn't do a whole lot either with Karakas in play. Yeah, so what they can do now is just return Thalia with Karakas. They have infinite mana with Uruk Salvages. I think either way, they just win anyway. Because even without Karakas, they can still kill Thalia with Walking Blister that we know about. Yeah, I am dead. I won't make them do it either. They obviously have to win. We don't have Bog. We don't play Bog as a sideboard card. We play Surgical and Tormod's Crypt. So Teeg still seems pretty good. Mum's okay, but I might drop it down to 2. Thalia doesn't do a whole lot. I might drop it down to 1.
I kind of want to bring in these Thought Seizers on the play. What do I want to drop? I think it's Scryb Ranger, if anything. Let's just go ahead with... maybe dropping the Jitte. The Jitte doesn't do a whole lot. The other swords do. At least the Sword of Fire and Ice can draw us a few cards. Yeah. Alright. I've actually heard a lot about this deck. I've never seen it in action before, so that's always pretty cool. Sadly, a no-lander is not. This hand's fine. Forest can be on top. Because we're going to fetch anyway. I'm going to get a Savannah and play Birds. Because then we have access to all our mana next turn if we draw into like Abrupt Decay. Tomb Ballista, okay. What if they trade? They do, okay, interesting. Could definitely have not fetch there, but I kind of just want a 6 here. And I don't want them to play something like Sorcerer's Spyglass and name Verdant Catacombs. I don't mind taking out the Ancient Den here because it deals with sort of 2 mana. Another Noble. Yeah, that deck is sweet. I'm going to keep this Verdant in hand just to act like I have something. They play is a bit on the Legacy Pit channel. Oh, interesting, okay. Not a great draw. I mean, we kind of just have to kill Khan here. I guess like Champions here is just lethal anyway with LED in hand as well because Walking Blister's in the bin. Yeah. So that is just game. So pretty shocking way to end the league. Did pretty poorly. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah. I mean, we kept a pretty fair hand and we drew into pretty fair cards. So can't really do a whole lot there. Our deck did not help us in that game. That is very true. Sadly, that is going to be me for the night. The deck was sweet. If anything, I'd play another land. Dropping down to 22 just didn't feel right. I really need to work out something here. Thalia seems fine, but she does come at a cost, and the cost is taking out more green cards for Green Suns. And in this case, a land as well. I believe the land I took out was Ghost Quarter. But yeah, that was a pretty shocking showing of the matchup between Bomberman and Maverick, because we didn't really have any interaction in that game 3, which is pretty rough, and maybe a reason to mulligan more aggressively for that. But yeah, sadly just didn't get there. The deck I feel is still pretty good, at least the list that is here. It's really just getting that extra land drop so we don't have so many mulligans where we don't have a land in the opening 7 or sometimes even 6, which is pretty rough. This league will be uploaded to YouTube, so Blastome seems okay, but we have so many permanents that I assume whatever we're blowing up, we're going to be blowing up our own things as well. Blastome doesn't work for things like LED because it has to come in with no counters on it, so you have to use like Thespian Stage as a way to get counters off it. But yeah, Gaddock Teeg does stop the combo in some regard, mainly in Planeswalkers finding them extra cards in Khans. But yeah, Bomberman seems really good right now. It'll be interesting to see if anyone's playing it in Melbourne, but yeah, for now. Yeah, not much more to say about that. If you guys enjoy my content, definitely send me a follow. I will have this up on YouTube over the night. I usually reach out on Twitter as well for when I'm about to play a league. I play on Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays, and around 9:45 on Saturdays. But this weekend, of course, is Melbourne Eternal Weekend, so I will not be streaming. This is really the last stream before the event, which went horribly. But with all losses, you do learn a thing or two. So that's always, you know, a little bonus. So yeah, thank you guys very much for coming in. Jitesh, I will see you in Melbourne. For anyone else in chat that's going to Melbourne, I will see you there. Hopefully with a bit more competitiveness to my deck. But yeah, thank you very much. All the best for the week ahead. It's been Dukes on Twitch. Thank you very much. Cheers.